Gareth Bale once again showed just why some players make more money than most of their colleagues. On the back of a week where local Spanish outlets called him something similar to a waste of space, the Real Madrid man silenced his detractors by hitting the back of the net twice to help Wales move one step closer to World Cup qualification. The 30-year-old winger's performance was a memorable one, which means that perhaps Bale is back for good. Meanwhile, David Beckham plans to bring back the Barcelona of 2015 to Inter Miami. We'll tell you what this means in just a bit. Moriba chose to leave Barcelona to sign up with RB Leipzig. However, things have not really worked out at all too well for the young midfielder in Germany, where he struggled to stamp his authority and is now on loan at Valencia. Following their dismal showing in the Clásico against Barcelona, Real Madrid decided to meet up with Carlo Ancelotti to reassure his future at the club. So you know the drill, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications as we fill you in on the most important stories. Before we get started, we want to share the sponsor of today's video. The OneFootball app is the ultimate football platform and is a must-have for every football fan so that you can follow all of your favourite leagues, teams and players all the time right from your phone. You can be sure to turn on notifications for specific players to be instantly alerted when they score a goal or when they are involved in other breaking news. It is the best and easiest way to stay up to date with everything football. Click the link in the description down below to download the app right now. You won't regret it. The humiliation in the Clásico has sown doubts in the mind of the Real Madrid management. Florentino Perez met Carlo Ancelotti to set him his end-of-season goals and also reassure him. Real Madrid's astonishing qualification for the quarter-finals of the Champions League is already a distant memory. Well, almost, because it also conditions the future of Carlo Ancelotti, except that since Karim Benzema's magical night against PSG, Casablanca took a huge slap in the Clásico at the Santiago Bernabeu in a 4-0 loss that not many people saw coming. Since then, a wind of uncertainty has been blowing over the capital. Arriving last summer to replace Zinedine Zidane, the Italian coach has failed to convince everyone at the club, even if he is not worried. The round of 16 performance at the Parc des Princes had already given some people a heads up, but the humiliation against Barca added another layer. There is like a doubt with Ancelotti, and this feeling is shared in high places, as by Florentino Perez. According to a journalist from Goal in Spain, which is confirmed by all the press, the boss of Real Madrid even invited the 62-year-old technician to take stock of the situation with him. The two men met at the training centre this Friday at the beginning of the afternoon and spoke about the difficulties of the team. The meeting still lasted 1 hour and 30 minutes, a relatively long time, proof that there was a great need to discuss things. Perez also met with Benzema and Mendy, both injured, and set the roadmap for what's next. Ancelotti is not in danger for the end of the season and should even be retained in case of victory in La Liga and/or in the Champions League. AS adds an element which he considers to be troubling. This summit interview comes the day after Italy's elimination from the World Cup, and Ancelotti has been rumoured to take over from Mancini. Moriba finds little to smile about in Valencia. Arriving on loan from RB Leipzig at the end of January, the midfielder plays more than he did in Germany. He could even win the Copa del Rey on April 23rd against Real Betis. If he is not always a starter, he participates in the Spanish club's convincing second part of the season, after a more difficult first half. It is in line with the African Cup of Nations. They're already asking the question of what to do next. They would like to keep the 19-year-old. The operation will not be simple. It will necessarily go through a loan, but there is still a possibility. RB Leipzig no longer want him after only 6 months in Germany. The Bundesliga club were tired of the player's immaturity and have already decided to get rid of him. It is Bild which reveals this information, which has since been taken up in Spain. According to the German Daily, despite investing €15 million in him last summer and a great potential detected when he played for Barcelona, Leipzig regret their choice, arguing that the player's mentality is not at all in line with the rest of the group. In particular, he reportedly asked the physiotherapists to bring him food during massages. Moriba's lifestyle has also been criticised. There is therefore a problem around a player who forced his departure from Barca. The German management would prefer to definitively sell an element under contract until 2026 in order to avoid a problem over time and recover part of their initial investment. This is where Valencia could come out on top and put this failure of a situation to good use. David Beckham wants to reintroduce at Inter Miami a large part of the last Barcelona side that was victorious in the Champions League in 2015. Messi would of course be at the heart of this crazy ambition. David Beckham did not move to PSG by chance. He too dreams bigger. Since 2018, the former England midfielder has launched the Inter Miami franchise, which played its first season in the MLS in 2020. He brought in his luggage some former Fergie babes from the class of '92. Phil Neville, the current coach, is one, but that's not all. To help him with this project and make the Floridians a dominant team in the league, he focused on bringing back names like Blaise Matuidi and Gonzalo Higuain. The French midfielder has gone. It's the Argentinian who is currently the only figurehead. But Beckham does not intend to stop there. He has a dream, visibly accessible, which is called Leo Messi. Messi is still one of the best players in the world. David, Beckham, is in a relationship with him, and I think if he leaves PSG, we would like to see Lionel Messi at Inter Miami and be part of our community. Can this happen? We will push. I am an optimist at heart. It's a possibility, franchise co-owner Jorge Mas said a month ago. La Pulga is at the end of his contract in 2023 with PSG, where everything is not going as he would have hoped for. Messi will be 35 next June. The possibility of flying to the United States would offer him a good way out, especially since he might not come alone. Inter Miami have a bigger project. They want to attract former Argentinian teammates to Barcelona after the World Cup in Qatar. Marca makes it clear that this ambition would not start before the end of the 2022-23 season because all the players mentioned want to play in a last World Cup. In this list we find Sergio Busquets, who has already been cited on the Miami side in the recent past, but also Jordi Alba, who will retire from international duty after Qatar, and Luis Suarez, a great friend of Messi. The Uruguayan is coming to the end of his career at Atletico Madrid. There has already been talk of a departure for the United States, without giving a franchise name. Beckham has a dream, that of reforming this quartet which won the Champions League in 2015. It remains to be seen how the Englishman will manage to achieve this, while the MLS only allows the registration of 3 players as designated player. This is another story. As the saying goes, don't mess with the bull, you'll get the horns. Maybe the Spanish media should have seen it coming. Gareth Bale was the chief protagonist after the spectacular double against Austria that brings Wales closer to the Qatar 2022 World Cup. The winger wanted to deal with some of the criticism received in recent days for his performance at Real Madrid. Through social networks, the former Tottenham man sent a forceful message. The Daily Mail brings to light this piece of slanderous, derogatory and speculative journalism from Marca at a time when people are taking their lives due to the insensitivity and relentlessness of the media. I want to know who is holding responsible, these journalists and the media that allow them to write articles like this? Thankfully, I've developed a tough skin during my time in the public spotlight, but that doesn't mean articles like these don't cause personal and professional harm and disgust to those who receive these malicious stories. On the day of the game, Bale was once again the decisive player for his national team, proving to be in perfect physical condition, those that he himself questioned, and that led him to not participate in the Clásico against Barcelona and not be present at the Santiago Bernabéu. As they say, one day less for it to stop being a problem. And that is the feeling they have had for months, despite considering the Welshman a huge player. During the match, Real Madrid celebrated Bale's goals on social networks, as they always do with the goals scored by their players during the international break and tournaments. And as on Thursday night, they also did the same with Camavinga's. The Welshman's contract is in its final stretch, and in 3 months he will no longer belong to the Madrid Giants. Bale is a player who has been decisive in many of the recent achievements, but who decided to disconnect 4 years ago. Ancelotti had him as a starter in the first La Liga games, but after his August commitments with the national team, he suffered from injuries and low moments in form. He played as a starter against Villarreal, appeared for a few minutes in the Parque de los Príncipes, and was disconnected again. Last Sunday he decided that the discomfort he felt in his back was enough to say no to the Clásico, not even to be on the bench. 4 days later, he has been decisive in the triumph of Wales. That's Bale. And perhaps that's the reason we might never see him play to his best in Spain, at least not as much as we thought we would.